All right, you've probably heard the buzz. A potential U.S. government shutdown is on the horizon, and man, does that create a lot of noise and uncertainty. So, let's just cut right through all of that. In this explainer, we're going to get down to brass tacks and focus on one thing: what a shutdown actually means for you as an EB-5 investor. So, let's just get right to it. The big question that I know is on your mind: is a government shutdown really going to derail your whole green card journey? It's a huge worry, so let's get some real clarity on that, shall we? Okay, first things first, let's get on the same page about what a shutdown even is. It's a temporary halt, right? And it's only for non-essential federal services. This all happens because Congress can't agree on funding legislation. Now pay close attention to those keywords: temporary and non-essential. It's not like the entire government just stops. And you know what? That little distinction is absolutely critical when we're talking about the EB-5 program. And that brings us perfectly to the first and honestly the biggest myth floating around out there. And that's this fear that a shutdown means your entire immigration process just grinds to a screeching halt. I mean, you see the headlines, right? And your mind immediately jumps to this image of your application file, just sitting there, gathering dust on a desk in some big, empty government office. That fear is totally understandable. The idea that all your progress just gets swallowed up by political gridlock. But is that what's really going on? So here's the key, the real secret to understanding this whole thing. You just have to follow the money. Think about it. Agencies that are funded by Congress, yeah, they get hit hard, for sure. But then you've got agencies that fund themselves through user fees. And guess who that is? USCIS. They are playing by a completely different set of rules. And this is the most important takeaway, really. Since USCIS runs on the application fees that you pay, the core of the EB-5 process just keeps on chugging along. They're still going to be accepting and processing those key petitions. You know, your I-526E, your IA-29, the whole deal. Now look, it's not perfect. You might see some indirect slowdowns from other agencies. Maybe a background check takes a bit longer, or there are scheduling delays at the consulates. But the main engine, USCIS, it keeps running. Okay, so we've covered the processing side of things. Let's tackle the second huge worry: the safety of your actual investment. This is a big one because it goes beyond just processing times and hits right at the financial heart of your EB-5 project. The fear here, and it's a valid one, is that all that political chaos in Washington is going to spill over and directly threaten your project. You know, the construction, the job creation, all of it. The worry is pretty simple when you boil it down. If the government shuts down, does my project shut down with it? But here's the thing. The reality is, your investment is in a private business. It's governed by contracts, not by political whims in D.C. So the construction doesn't just stop. The job creation requirements, they don't just disappear. The real risk here isn't the shutdown itself, but more the broader economic uncertainty that might bubble up because of it. And that, right there, is why your focus should always be on the fundamentals of the project itself. And hey, let's not forget about the big safeguard we have in place, the EB-5 Reform and Integrity Act. That thing doesn't get furloughed. These rules were literally designed to provide stability during exactly these kinds of uncertain times. So all those requirements for transparency, for reporting, for protecting you, the investor, they remain fully in effect. They act like a solid foundation for your investment, no matter what's happening politically. So, okay, we've busted a couple of major myths. Now let's do something really productive. Let's shift our focus away from worrying about things we can't control, like politics, and instead zero in on what you can control in your own EB-5 journey. Think of this as your strategic playbook. Number one, forget trying to time the political market. It's impossible. Instead, focus all your energy on putting together a rock-solid, well-prepared petition. Number two, partner up with professionals who've been through this before. You want people who've seen this movie and already know how it ends. And third, and this is probably the most important, be absolutely relentless with your due diligence. A strong project with a proven developer at the helm, that's your ultimate shield against pretty much any storm. And look, if you're still feeling a little nervous, just look at the history books. The EB-5 program has weathered these kinds of storms before. In past shutdowns, USCIS kept the lights on, petitions kept moving forward, and yeah, there were some delays, but they were mostly minor bumps in the road, not giant mountains. The bottom line is, this is not uncharted territory for the program. All right, so let's pull all of this together. What's the final big picture takeaway here? When it comes to your long-term investment journey, how should you really think about a government shutdown? I think this quote really just says it all. A government shutdown should be viewed as a planning variable, not a stopping point. It's not a giant red light that stops your journey to a green card dead in its tracks. No, it's just another variable in the equation. So by staying informed, by working with the right team, and by focusing on a top-quality project, you can absolutely navigate this with confidence. So the real question isn't if you should proceed, it's how you plan to handle the inevitable bumps that are always part of a long road.